to take a further.
Well, good afternoon to you from this Sports Scene special. Highlights of the final Old Firm meeting of the season coming up in just a moment. And I'll be joined by two former Old Firm stars, Jim Craig, late of Celtic, and the former Rangers player Gordon Smith. We'll be talking about the game in just a moment. But looking ahead to that match yesterday, a Keith Wright goal prevented Aberdeen putting even more pressure on Rangers in today's game. Hans Hillhouse equaliser was enough only to give the Dons a point and to leave Rangers still holding a 4-point lead at the top of the table with today's game in hand. Well, so to the highlights of Rangers against Celtic. A 2:05 kick-off. The Rangers team along the expected lines, all the injury victims fully recovered, and the side captained as always by Terry Butcher. The Celtic side, though, doing without Chris Morris, who's suspended. Peter Grant took over his number 2 jersey, with Anton Rogan moving forward into midfield, and up front, Jakanowski, Coyne and Miller. Commentators at Ibrox, Archie McPherson.
Well, it may be 2:05 or thereabouts on a Sunday afternoon, but to Rangers and Celtic supporters and Rangers and Celtic players, it's the Old Firm match, and no matter how often you've seen games like this, you come across it again as if it's an entirely new experience. Celtic realising that they could impede Rangers' progress towards the championship title, and also try to avoid, well, the ignominy, you might say, of not being able to beat Rangers at all in a season for the first time ever in the Premier Division. So there's going to be a lot of determination from everybody out there this afternoon. Bonner trying to get length with that, and I would imagine, as normal in an Old Firm game, the opening exchanges will be gay, jittery to say the least. Nice little bit of ball juggler there by Jakanowski. A game that's normally played at an enormous rate. Rangers haven't been at the very top of their form over the last couple of months. Their manager demanding this afternoon something like their true form and talent. There's Joe Miller, a man who'll be remembered by Celtic supporters as having scored that goal in the cup final last season. Who's down in the history books. Now Galloway, I think, was toying with the idea of a long throw-in. Jakanowski. Everybody back defending, and there's McStay. Not a bad effort. Try to curl it over. Just too much on it. McCoy's good jumping in the air by Dubček. Celtic looking at a more composed team at the moment. Just get the impression that one or two of these Rangers players are very tense. Joe Miller coming back, retrieving, and I would imagine there'll be a lot of fetchers and carriers in this match this afternoon. The work rate will be enormous. Johnston. The flick on. Yeah, that was a very cumbersome challenge by Mark Walters. Not the best tackler in the business, and away goes Galloway. Just beyond Trevor Stephen. And I talked about jitters, there it was. Ooh, look at this. Ferguson. Whatever was he thinking about? Almost a beautiful little pass right into the path of Coyne. There's determination. You'll see these two men jousting in the air together a lot. Woods is up. Dubček. And we're certainly seeing more of Celtic at this stage. This is a very aggressive and enterprising Celtic team at this early juncture. Galloway's operating up and down this right side. Derek White usually plays very well in an Old Firm game. That's good tackling by Ferguson. Nice little touch on Trevor Stephen. Well beyond Grant. Walters. That's what he's so good at. Oh, it's almost there. Whipped away. That's a good effort by Rangers. Well, that originated from that sparkling little piece of play by Walters. Now just watch this again, that little double shuffle of his. So characteristic of his play, and he tried it on himself there. Bonner, almost making a mess of it. Dubček, Jakarowski. That was Spackman. Trevor Steven. Spackman looking for support inside. Ferguson. A bit fortuitous that. Stevens. Well, from away down to the far left, some Rangers supporters might have thought that that was a goal. Side netting them. Now just watch how he picked that up. Ferguson just squeezing that out to him, and he let fly with it. Grant, of course, playing in place of the suspended Chris Morris. And I think Celtic, as this game goes on and on, will miss the power and the surge of Peter Grant. I really do. Spackman going in here, and as he went in, so Galloway down, cumbersome tackle. McStay. He'd be delighted if he could get a victory as captain. His first role as captain at Ibrox in an Old Firm game. Now Walters lying very deep. Judged it well. Trevor Stevens covering a lot of ground so far. Oh, well off that. Richard Gough suddenly popping up as a right winger. English internationalist way off for that. Dubček. Rangers beginning to grow in confidence, methinks. But first few minutes they looked very nervous, very tense, realizing what's at stake for them. And now they're growing in stature. And here's a man talking about stature who'll be right up there in the box. Badly taken there. Ferguson can't quite get to it. Well, that annoyed the crowd, but the linesman was right on the spot, offside. Almost an up and under. There's the man. He was complaining about the heat in the referee's room when I spoke to him just before the game. Like a Turkish bath in there. Rangers, take note, please. Spackman, ooh, little blunder. Galloway! Well, I think he must have been trying to explain to somebody what he was trying to do. Not too heavy. Well, I think he did the right thing. I think it came off the side of his foot, though, and was spinning away. And Woods, I think, had that covered anyway. Rangers looking much more promising. It's all about pace now. That was not an illusion, that was a balloon you saw there. Well, I think the referee will have to come in and step in quickly. What's he decided? I think a free kick to Rangers. Yes, it is. You could call that a slight debate. A lot of wrestling going on there. I'll tell you what, that was 50-50. I would like to have decided who was at fault there originally. So, big men will be up here again. Celtic always have to watch people like Terry Butcher and Richard Gough. They're always well-marked men, always trying to get a bit of freedom. And there's Richard Gough! Oh. Well, he set off after it beautifully. And somehow or other, that Celtic defence opened up. There was a vacuum. And he popped and got it all wrong. He tried to glance it far too much. Determined look in that face, isn't there? Joe Miller. Elliott very good in the air. He's had a lot of cautions this season, but I think he's been one of the reasons why Celtic have come on to form in the latter part of the season, particularly showing well against Rangers in the Cup, of course. Up it goes. Oh, that's a hand. Oh, I can hardly believe it. Rogan handled that so blatantly. And as I recall, he did exactly the same at Ibrox when Celtic lost 4-1. Up he pops, and I've got to ask, has he got a contract to do that at this stadium? Anyway, as blatant a penalty kick as you could wish, and what a rush of blood to the head. Quite astonishing. No, penalty kick. Ooh, Bonner almost saved it, but it's got it. It just went in. And I think there may be relief in that Rangers group there. Now, this is not the greatest penalty that Mark Walters has ever taken. You'll see now why. Far too near the goalkeeper, who almost thwarted him. Well, there you are. 34 minutes gone, and Rangers are in the lead, 1-0 to nothing, and that action there clearly shows the frustration of Paddy Bonner. I wonder what goes through Anton Rogan's mind now. Trevor Stephen, I said earlier on, there's a lot of fetching and carrying in this game, and we've got 10 attackers, 10 defenders, as it were. Chris Woods, who favours that drop kick, and he does get a lot of distance with it. Good tackling now. McCoist. Johnson just inside him. It's Johnson. Oh, he struck that beautifully. And is that not delirium, if ever I saw it? Bonner, no chance at all. And Johnson's reputation as one of the finest strikers in the business surely underlined here. Neat little chip by Ali McCoist. Now, I'll tell you what, that needed good control and good finishing in there. That is quite superb striking. It is never easy to pick up a goal like this in a game of this nature, and yet Maurice Johnson struck it so sweetly, to the great delight of himself at having scored his 14th Premier Division goal of the season and putting Rangers 2 up. Half-time, not all that far away. Celtic defence allowed him that little leeway, but there was the big man coming across to try and snuff him out. It didn't put him off. That's a bit awkward, that challenge. Celtic will have to fight back now. Trevor Stephen. Bounce eluding him. And Rangers playing with great confidence after what I thought was a nervy start by them. Johnston. Offside, linesman on the far side. A little bit of a clash there in front of the linesman. And Ali McCoist, noted for his goal scoring, set that up nicely for his international partner. A packed Ibrox resounding to Rangers songs and noises now. Rangers in command. Oh, it's great play. Fluffed it though at the end. Trevor Stephen. Gary Stevens going up just inside him. O'Connor. Walters. Celtic sweeping that away, and that surely would have killed the game. Stone dead. What a chance. Again, a mistake here by Bonner, committing himself that went right underneath him. A little bit of gymnastics, and then he got in the way. Good recovery. Dylan O'Neill looking slightly bemused by this whole thing. Trevor Stephen, you saw right in the heart of the penalty area there, has been everywhere today. Butcher immense in the air, and Johnson almost in a left half position. Spackman on the run, but to Walters. It's all Rangers. Neat little chip and just beyond McCoist. Yes, he acknowledges that. Very close to half-time now. Tony Bonner trying to tell somebody where exactly he's going to put this. And there it goes, a half-time whistle. A roar of great satisfaction rising over Ibrox as the two goal scorers trot away, and Mark Walters and Johnston. And this is what started the flood of Rangers activity. An incredibly conceded penalty, and well accepted by Walters, and a quite superb strike by a man in international class. Start of this second half, and the two men you can see there, Adam McCoist and Mo Johnson, have now between them scored 26 goals in the Premier Division, and that goes a long way to winning a championship for you. Also steadiness at the back, as that man has shown in this game alone. Paul Elliott. Taxman goes forward, and there's been some pretty strenuous tackling in this game. No, Rank definitely commanded that first half, there's no doubt about it, after that rush of blood to the head by Anton Rogan. Some of football is quite inexplicable, and that moment certainly was a madness of an occasion for Celtic. And Butcher. Long high, here's Ali McCoist with a chance. Really, where on earth was the Celtic defence? No wonder Paddy Bonner looks thunder-stricken. I mean, the defence just vanished. Great ball there through the middle by Butcher, but for a ball of that length, really defenders should pick them off. Look at the way it came down there. And really, I would put that down. There's a chance, Johnston! less annoyed with himself. A difficult ball to take. He was having to turn round, hit it at the same time. But going back to that previous effort there, I think Ali McCoy's actually ought to have done something better out of it. And it's Rogan, the man who conceded the penalty, going off. Fulton is on. Peter Grant. Celtic, I think, have missed Grant's drive in midfield in this game. Been further back than ideally Celtic would have liked. Johnson, mistake that time. An easy and careful build-up. That's a gift to Elliott. And that's Spackman. Are they falling out, I wonder? Well, they did the right thing in my book. Sometimes players snarl at each other for the very best of reasons. Good jumper for a ball, by the way, Maurice Johnson. Now Galloway. Haven't seen him do this in the game all that much. Celtic will get a free kick. And really, they ought to bring Elliott up. I'm sure they will. Challenge here by Spackman, yes. Clearly a free kick. They're all back, and Woods unhappy about something. Will McStay have a pot? Weighted out far side, and Elliott claiming he was impeded. Now just watch. Good ball by McStay. Puts it across there, and he claims he was pushed as he went for that. And I think he's being booked. Yes, he is. Well, that is his 15th yellow card of the season, which puts him something like 6 ahead of the nearest one, who's Houchin of Hibs. And he's going off as Andy Walker comes on. Well, we've now gone half an hour, and as I suspected, Trevor Stevens has been labouring in the last 10 minutes. He comes off. I do believe he has that niggling calf injury recurring, and on comes John Brown. Miller did very well to get round that side, and that's a corner. Good, determined play by Miller. Now really, Celtic have got to exploit this man here. He wants it. Is he going to get near it? Well, he did too. Well, I recall him getting to a ball very much like that in the Old Firm game at Parkhead near the end of the match, and he almost saved the game for Celtic. A bit of a mishmash, and Celtic just got out of that. Gary Stevens going well for it. Now Walters, nobody picking him off. He likes this situation. That's a penalty. The penalty's been awarded, and a broad smile on the face of Johnston. He was pushed. John Brown. Well now, this was the probe by Walters. A little shimmy, and then over it went, and watch, there was a push. And that is a penalty. I think Ali McCoy is going to take this one. There it was now. As he went for it, so he went down. And so, I don't think inside the final 10 minutes that Rangers are going to lose this game anyway, but I suspect that this is a goal that would help them go a long way to retaining a championship. Well, speaks for itself. 3-0. And that is that. And Ali McCoist, at the same time, has broken Derek Johnson's record. 133. And Ibrox, record scorer. And the Rangers supporters acknowledging the goal-scoring feats of this man, who took this goal with the greatest aplomb. That is the way to take a penalty kick. Slightly wrong-footing Bonner and then plumping it in. There is no catching of Rangers now. Off the head of Walters. Really striding out there, and nobody. Ibrox ringing in the most amazing way with sounds of celebration. Richard Goff. Rangers just playing it around, caressing the ball. And it must be very contented men there to realise the final whistle will be going any second. Flag is up. Coyne not too happy about it. And I think Coyne's going to be booked for quite unnecessary gesture towards the linesman on the far side. Been a hard afternoon for everybody, not least the referee, of course. It's a game in which they're really put under the microscope. Well, by our watch, we've now gone about 2 minutes stoppage time. But there it goes. Rangers have won 3-0, and there is a delighted face for you. One has to say that Rangers haven't looked like champions in the past 6 weeks. They certainly did today. The manager put it to them in almost confrontational language. You've got to do it this afternoon. And Ali McCoist was one in breaking that record, 133 goals, who certainly rose to the occasion, as we would say. But Paul McStay, by comparison with some of the performances I've seen this season, was largely anonymous, as were far too many Celtic players. Quite candidly, Celtic were abjectly poor. A very weak challenge from a Rangers team led resolutely, as usual, by Terry Butcher, and staying on to thank the supporters for the incredible support they've had this afternoon. And Rangers, I think, will now be relishing the prospect of going to Pittodrie to play next Sunday, a week from today, in a game that I think will always be important, of course, but whose pressures will be considerably eased as a result of going in there 3-0 up on their old rivals.
Yes, another astonishing Old Firm match, and Rangers really winning in the end a lot more easily than any of us had suspected. Well, after the match, Derek Ray sought out the reaction of Rangers manager Graham Souness.
I felt when we won 1-0 here early in the season, we played equally as well as we did today, but we got 3 goals today. In the last game, nobody agreed with me. We scored a goal in the last few minutes of the game, in the last game, and we played extremely well. Today we played extremely well and we got 3 goals.
What was the pressure like coming into this game? Because, of course, before this, your last win was way back at the beginning of February.
Our problem's been, since we went 7 points in front of the top of the league, the attitude of certain players, and unfortunately, I'd have to say the majority of them, hasn't been what it should have been. And I believe the way the modern game is played, if you drop 5% in your attitude, and that's all it takes, you won't win many games, because the emphasis today in our football is on the running, on the challenging, and on the effort you put into it. And that's been our problem.
The first goal today came from an error by Anton Rogan, the penalty kick.
I think it was a wee bit unfortunate, because it was his momentum, I think, as much as anything, took his arm up. But instead, I think Richard Goff was immediately behind him and was going to get a header. Unfortunate, but I felt, OK, we won 3-0 and 2 of them were penalties. I feel that 3-0, that's maybe just being kind to Celtic.
And in the second half, the way you controlled the game with possession football.
Yeah, well, we obviously wanted to win today. We chased and we got the goals. And then you worry, because you put so much work in and pushing forward to try and get the goals, that you may dip. But at no time did the players dip. You know, I think after 10 minutes of the game, I think we totally dominated. And as you said, after we got our goals, we played some really good stuff. I'm very happy today. I'm delighted for the players, because they've been under a wee bit of pressure, because a lot of people have been questioning their ability. It's not their ability.